Righty-ho. Shall we do this? I think we shall. Hello, folks. It calls 9 o'clock Sunday night UK time. Can mean only one thing. It's time for Mel to get something wrong again, isn't it? I don't know what, but we will. But it is the Sunday Nighter. Yes, your chance to have a little natter with me and get your terrain questions answered. I don't know why I'm so perky. I think I'm trying to energise myself at the start of the show because I am knackered. I've had a hell of a week, folks. Anyway, how are you? I see we've got the gang all in. Greetings from the low counties. Yes, we are back in the studio, as my cat is saying. Hi, cat. We are back in the studio now. So Thursday, 7:30 in the studios. Going to be doing a lot of Burma building, I have a feeling. Greetings from port and toilet. Been there. Hello to those who have just joined. Yes, I see a load of what you call it, regulars. Right, this is a question and answer show. I have opened the Google document. The link is down below in the description. Okay, so if you've got any terrain questions for me, and it looks like they're coming in already, yeah, you can you can submit your questions via the Google link. You don't need to be logged in, just leave your screen name, what platform you're on, whether it's Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube, yeah, and you can get to it there. Right, I better And for those of you on the old Twitchy and all that sort on Facebook, there's the link. Oh, we got new followers. I still haven't figured out how to switch that off on Twitch. No idea whatsoever. I see questions are coming in. Nice, good. I might even be doing some painting as well. Did anyone else just look up? Who's up? What is your latest work in progress project? Right now, I am working on the White Cliffs of Dover. You may have seen photos of them going round on the old social medias. They're going to be out next week, more than likely. I've got a painting video with Fred. I'm editing that up at the minute. That's a beast of a video. Yeah, I've got 2 hours of Fred talking about ocean and beach colours and trying to condense that information down because there's so much that you just don't want to cut it. And it's like I could easily just put the raw footage up, yeah, quite easily, and just sit there because there is so much, yeah. Patrick's asking me what streaming software is this. I use Streamlabs OBS. I used to use, what was it? XSplit, but it was buggy and chunky and hello buddy. As Kat says, yes, if you do have a question, make sure that you put it in the Google Doc. I do miss them in the comments. Yeah, and also Kat saying, yeah, I did cut last week's show short a little. Yeah, on the basis that we'd run out of questions and I was knackered. I've been knackered this week as well, to be perfectly honest. It's been a crazy week for me. Yeah, Kez is working sort of 2-10 shifts, which leaves me essentially with studio during the day and then parenting during the evening. Which is fine and everything because, you know, I love it and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but Thursday, Kezzy's stepdad was rushed into hospital, so immediately all her free time has suddenly gone to, like, you know, running around with family and all that sort of stuff as you're doing these things, which means I've had the kids all weekend as well, and I'm just, my brain is ceasing to function. Although, yeah, having the kids a lot has meant my gaming has gone through the roof. Yeah, because we've been dungeon sagaing it like you wouldn't believe. Suggestion, maybe give us the edited one and share an unlisted video on your social media with the unedited one. That's not a bad idea. We'll see how the footage comes out. So far, I'm 7 minutes into 2 hours, 38 minutes worth of footage. Any schedule for World of Tanks? an odd one. Saw you playing it once and streaming. It was amazing to watch you play. I don't really stream World of Tanks. It's not what I'm about. And to be truthful, I know that a few people are interested, but I tend to alienate more people than I interest. Do you know what I mean? I might, once I've got all my regular streaming and, you know, I've met my commitments to my patrons with the live streaming back in the studio. Now I'm starting to do that, and you know my videos are getting back to regular, and I want to get back to 2-3 releases a week. Once I get to that stage, then you know even Kez has sort of encouraged me to have, look, you should have a throwaway sort of Twitch channel where you just do, because I do dick about on games a bit, to be perfectly honest. You know, I do have a bit of a jolly. I'm great on Kerbal. I can have a right laugh on Kerbal. But it needs to be something that's separate from the channel, and most importantly, yeah, I have people who support me. You know what I mean? You know, normal people just like me and you and that sort of stuff, who put their hands in the pocket to help me do the channel. It doesn't feel me right diverting energy to set up a gaming channel, yeah, whilst I haven't got back fully into the swing of things with what they're supporting me with yet. You know what I mean? So terrain first, and when that goes all well, yeah, then yeah, I'll have a little bit of a gaming channel. And if you want to watch me drive around in my little tank upsetting young kids, yeah, they call it, what do you call it? They call it seal clubbing, where you go along easily killing the young, stupid, innocent ones that are defenseless. Yeah, so I think I'm going to call myself Sealy McClubbing, the professional, what do you call it? What's the best age to get your kids to play tabletop games with you? 2, 3? My kids built terrain in their nappies, and I've got photos of them in their nappies, painting, building. The thing is, all you've got to do is pitch it at their level. Oh, another follow on Twitch. Thank you, guys. Listen, guys, if you do want to follow my adventures and all that, the extra sort of stuff I do in the studios, yeah, jump yourself over to Twitch. Hey, Fox, what's working on tonight? Just spent the day helping my sister move out, so I'm doing nothing for a change. Lucky you, Bruce. A week ago, someone asked about making molds. I just discovered blue stuff. It's awesome. Have you used it, Mel? That's that army stuff, innit? You know, the Japanese clear stuff, like basically like you real oil and you put it down. I've used it, yeah, but actually for Halloween. There you go. You can get similar stuff that's used for, like, you know, fangs, for doing the old, what you call it, you know, the makeup and prosthetics. Kez got me a set of fangs for, what you call it, for a vampire outfit, and that came with the similar sort of stuff that basically you just throw in water, boil it up, get soft, you push it over whatever you want to mold. Yeah, as it cools, yeah, then you've got a mold that's reusable. Have you ever considered using a 3D pen for custom bits? Can I show you something just quickly? I haven't. I've never used one, but I did get my daughter a stylus. Yeah. Over Christmas. Yeah, just a relatively cheap one, you know, to go with, you know, she's had my old laptop and and where is it? Image. Add source. Let's see if I can do this. Hey, more followers. Right, no, not that one. New image. Let me see if I can find this. If I can. I'm not going to have it on here. Never mind. No, it's going to be it's going to be on my phone or something. Never mind. No, she's had a stylus, and the drawings she can do are amazing. Yeah, and she's just started. Right, how are we on Google questions? We've got 5 in. Keep going for a little while. What's the topic? What's your name on Twitch? Same as YouTube, The Terrain Tutor. Insta mode. Also use Orugama. Still can't pronounce that. Now we're waiting for some What's Got questions to come in. In the meantime, I was actually thinking about doing a little bit of hobby. Yeah. With me out spending a bit more time with the kids and that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's managed me. We've reinvigorated Dungeon Saga. Okay, and Dungeon Saga is sort of. It's a dungeon crawler, like a Hero Quest game. But what we're trying to do is introduce new elements of roleplay into it. So we're doing things like, instead of just going around the board, you know, if there's no action, I'll describe where they're going and that sort of stuff. And we're just slowly introducing that in. But it's got me painting again, which is really good because I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, so I have him. Yeah, now I don't know if it's going to focus on him. It probably won't. Yeah, but I need to give him a wash up. Yeah, so I can do that while I chat with you guys. Hobbying and streaming. Right, where are we on the questions? 6 in. We'll get stuck in. When we get to 10, I'll get stuck into that. There we go. I have a Polaroid 3D pen and it's great for small pieces. I also use it to make molds for plaster casting of small pieces. I'm interested. Do you know what I mean? It's just that, do you ever feel that there's just so much you've got to get into? Do you know what I mean? And me and Kez were talking about it. She was talking about the 3D printing and the laser cutting and, you know, what my plans are and mold making, what I'm going to do about that. And it's like, there's so much going on and there's so many different avenues you can go off to that it's difficult to actually turn around and go, right, you know, where do I divert my energy? Right, come on, I've got to have some flesh wash here somewhere. Flesh wash. And everyone say hello to the dog. Woof woof. I'm pretty sure I've lost half the cards and tokens for Dungeon Saga. The book box is ace though. I've got 5 of them. We've got quite an impressive set, to be truthful, of Dungeon Saga bits. I think the only expansion I haven't got is the one with the dragon in, yeah, and also the proper adventurer's companion. Yeah, the first one that came out, I had problems with printing, and I've got that version. So I need to get a better version, to be truthful. But it's good enough at the minute. I was quite lucky because I did some of the terrain that's in it. Would you ever be doing a wargaming gameplay video? I plan on doing them in the future. Yeah. Not as main channel content. You know, it's not something I want to do channel wise, yeah, but I do think that I'd like to include a little bit of it because it seems strange to do all the terrain and never actually get into the actual, never play a game with it, you know. And people have asked me a lot about it in the past, so it's definitely something I'm going to look into. Just got a Minotaur here and I'm just throwing a bit of flesh wash on him while I've got a bit of time. I got the Duff book from the Kickstarter too, but I got the good book too. Now I need Watchcolour. I need to go see Ronnie. Beg one off Ronnie. I mean, it is my terrain in the book, so I should have at least a decent copy of it. I think that's only fair. Oh, that's quite nice. Coming out quite nice. Do like the army painter washes. Right. We will get onto the questions in... Might as well jump onto them now, hadn't we? He says, as he looks at his brushes as well. Right, questions. I've got 8 questions showing, so let's give it a what do you call it? Right, okay. Okay, Gorgeous George is asking, will there be more Urban Warfare foam board ruin terrain tutorials? Yes, there will. Yeah, most definitely. It's been a long time since we've done those, and we definitely need to revisit it. I've got an itching for a bit of 40k and, you know, that sort of gothic future sort of stuff at the minute. I mean, I've got things we've got to do first, as always, but yes, most definitely in the future. I think there's a lot of interest in it as well, to be perfectly honest. As a contributor, did you get a free copy of the book? I did. I got a free copy of the book and I got a free copy of the game. I mean, I bought the extra expansions and that sort of stuff myself. You know what I mean? But the core box set and that sort of stuff. And Ronnie threw me a few exclusive, Kickstarter exclusive bits. So, next question. Finn Diesel, I have brought some insulation foam recently and I wanted to approach on building Minas Tirith from Lords of the Rings strategy games. Any suggestions on tackling on how you would do this? Minas Tirith. That's a big build. At that scale, that's a hell of a job, mate, to be perfectly honest. I mean, you're talking probably about 12 foot high. So, I mean, all I do, I mean, if you're really up for doing it, you're going to have to build a substructure. Yeah, I'd build it like cake layers. I'd build it like cake layers, to be truthful. Yeah, so you can then build foam board buildings to slide into them. If it was me, I'd probably make the massive castle. Yeah. I'd make the massive castle mainly the walls and the platforms and all the houses and that sort of stuff. I'd actually make separately. One, because it'll be easier to make them. But two, that way you could store them on the massive castle. Yeah, giving you, you know, the full frontage. But you could take them off and place them on a different gaming board and use them all to align the different streets inside. And I think if you're going to attempt something that big, you want to get the maximum use out of it. You know what I mean? So I think if you were to do something like that, so, you know, you've got the mountain, the ridge, you'd have the top. I mean, you know, where the white tree is and, you know, the main sort of, the main castle at the top. You know, where they have the platform and the kneeling and the, oh, you kneel to no man sort of thing. Yeah. And also Mr. Toasty doing his, whoa! You know. I'm amazed the flames were burned long enough for him to go all the way along there, out of that building. All the way along there, around the white tree, yeah, and all the way to hell of a run, you know. Yeah. But anyway, I think that mountain, that bit, you would have to be part of the far structure. The walls would have to be part of the main structure. But the actual internal streets, I think there's a really good argument for doing those as separate pieces you can drop in. You know what I mean? The reusability of that. Also, it would allow you to start the project rather small. Because you could map out, you know, your big castle thing and sort of say, right, I'm not going to build the big castle, you know, until I've got enough to do so many streets worth. You'd have your plans, so you know you'd know the shape of your if your scatter pieces, and starting your scatter pieces. On the plus side, if you never complete enough scatter pieces to reach the level where you've got enough to pull off the big mountain build. At least you've got a table's worth of terrain, and you haven't wasted materials and time on a large build you're not going to complete. And if you do, well, you've got all your table terrain. Time to make something truly epic. Maybe a couple of room buildings separate too, so you can play Osgiliath. Yeah, you could certainly do that. I mean, if you varied the height of the walls, you could put the room building sort of out of the way. If you wanted to maintain that, still built look while you had them all on display. That would work. Ooh, a bit heavy wash on there. How's that answer for you, matey? I think that's the best way to go. Right, next question. I'm getting into this now. Bruce, all right. Hey, buddy. So Suzanne finally found the super cheap two-part epoxy for doing water effects. Any good tips or videos I should watch? Only real experiences with the horrible woodland scenic stuff you have to cook. Oh, God, do you remember that stuff? Oh, I remember. Just, if you don't know about it, Woodland Scenics used to make this product. And basically, it was like these yellow plastic beads. Like you had to basically cook it. Yeah, and it took a lot of heat. And then it was like, the best you could get it to was almost like a slightly runny gel. I mean, it was foul stuff. And then somehow you had to pour it into wherever, like into your actual layout. It was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. But okay, with regards to videos to watch, go check out the water playlist. There's a good Envirotex video that takes you through all the important things when using two-part epoxies. And there's various videos with me doing oceans and using other things as well, mate. So I would check the water playlist. Finn's found the answer useful? No worries, buddy. Remember, guys, if you do find the information useful, a little bit of self-promotion, links down below to where you can make donations and wish lists and all that sort of stuff. If you like it, please support it. And I better check PayPal on that. Insane's in. Hello, Insane. When your model's that big that the wash is drying before you've finished, finished even doing it. Have I got any shout outs to do? Oh, I think one, yeah. Let's check. Menno sent a tenner in. Thank us, buddy. Thank us, buddy. Menno, thank us. Thank us, Maximus. Thanks, buddy. That's a tenner towards the studio monitor. If you're wondering what we're collecting for at the minute, it's to get a bigger monitor in the studio so I can see your comments during the live streams easier. Extra, I love your vids, but don't have the patience to make them myself, but I still watch them with ad block off. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you guys who switch the ad block off to watch the vids. I don't get that many views, not compared to some of the, some of the hobby content that's out there, but it all does help. Right, I've done that side. That sounds like a girl. Hello, Willow. Right, get a bit of wash on this and then we'll jump on the next question.
Oh, wow. But can you stop doing the skirts longer? What? That sounds like that's not your
Right.
million knickers.
Right. Can you keep that conversation to there?
I'm sorry.
If you're wondering, Willow's got into drawing anime in anime style. Conversations were needed to be had, although she's a great artist. Kerry was like, you need to speak to your daughter. I was like, I spoke to my son. You need to speak to your daughter. Oh, the joy of parenting. Right. Okay, next question is from Stony on YouTube. What would you consider the main differences between terrain modeling for 28mm scales, such as and 15 and 10? Right, so basically, what's the difference terrain modeling wise when it comes down to the different scales. Now, I have done a video on this. It's in the Talk Terrain playlist for those of you who want to see my controversial scales video. It's only controversial because I discovered wargamers they get quite upset if you do a scale video and you don't include the scale they game in. I incurred the wrath. Right, main differences. First off, the differences mainly come in, to be truthful, when it comes... Hello, you. Really?
No, I'm giving it to me. I'm getting Dad mouse ears now. Dad's gonna be a mouse.
You're lucky I love you, you know. You're going to give me a kiss and go to bed? Oh.
Shouldn't have came down.
Shouldn't have came down, busted. So she's going to try and slide on the show instead. Hello, young lady.
Yeah.
You're very good at drawing, aren't you?
Yeah. Have you shown them?
I haven't shown them yet.
Okay.
But we've got to teach Photoshop, haven't we? And then can you teach me?
Yeah.
Good, because I'm rubbish at Photoshop. Everyone's saying, hey, Willow.
I already know how to do Photoshop.
You already? How do you know how to do Photoshop?
Prankers.
Prankers? What about prankers?
When Amelia came round we went on my computer and we found pictures of Donald Trump off the internet, then Photoshopped to keep coming around to his head.
What? What is it about your schoolmates and Donald Trump?
Petitions.
Petitions. Petitions, I'll avoid. I mean, who's our Prime Minister?
Theresa May.
Well, at least you know that one. Right, you. Give us a kiss.
I only know because of petition.
Oh, because of the petition.
Yeah.
Come on, kiss. Love you.
Dad.
Good night, God bless.
See you guys.
Ah. Kids. There's a petition going round in the UK. There's this thing in the UK where on the government website, if you start a petition and it gets like 10,000 signees, yeah, 10 Downing Street, you know, our version of the White House and that sort of thing, yeah, they have to reply to the question, okay? Yeah, so some kid has started a petition, yeah, for the school day to start at 10 o'clock in the morning instead of 9. And in 10 hours, yeah, it got over 100,000, 100,000 signatures. Now, when it gets to 100,000, it has to be debated in Parliament. Yeah, so Parliament has got to sit and schedule time to answer the question, why shouldn't the school day start, yeah, at 10 a.m. The kids have realised they've got power. Now, this only went up yesterday. Yeah, they haven't even got back to school yet, and it's only going around sort of the internal school groups at the minute. God knows what number it's going to get up to. Right. So anyway, getting back to scale differences before we got Willow bombed. Okay. Right. Scale differences, main differences. It mainly comes in when it comes into man-made stuff. You see, most stuff in nature is actually scaleless. You know, because trees can be any size, rivers can be any depth, any width, rocks can be any size. You know, what could be, you know, a really rocky beach could actually be quite a sandy beach, depending on what the scale is. Yeah. Bushes, grasses, they can all be pretty scaleless. It's only when you get into man-made stuff, because we have something to reference it again. You know, a man, you know, essentially a 6-foot human as we see it. Yeah. And so, modelling wise, generally, there is very little difference for me, you know, scale wise, when I'm modelling natural stuff. I'm still using exactly the same techniques. I'm using the same principles. I'm using the same design principles. My materials may vary a little. Yeah. The smaller you work, the denser the materials you tend to work with. Yeah, so at 28mm you use quite like coconut fibre and stuff, which is quite full, if you know what I mean. As you go down, your fibers clump and they get more denser. You know what? Building materials, big scales, you use obviously the thicker foam board. Once you drop down to like the 6mm, and once you drop down to like 10mm, you start using 3mm stuff, a lot of plastic card. I'm doing some 6mm buildings at the minute, and I'm making them out of foam and a bit of, you know, what you call it, DAS modelling putty. And so I highly recommend checking out the video, because to be truthful, that's got a much better sort of explanation of the differences of scale, and also where you can reach into to get materials for different scales. And Jimmy's saying the petition will be examined by a committee to see if it meets the criteria for discussion in Parliament. Many fail at this stage. You see, I mean, normally, yeah, I don't know how they're going to get round avoiding answering that question. To be truthful, I don't see how they can avoid not answering it in Parliament, because it's not like it's bigoted. It's not like it's a stupid question. You know, it's a genuine question. What do you call it? Why shouldn't the school day start at 10? I mean, there are scientific studies that show it would be better for the kids. Yeah, it would be better for road congestion and loads of different things. I'm not advocating a side here. I'm just saying, you know, there is a debate to be had. I'm just really fascinated by the power the kids have suddenly got together. You know what I mean? And they figured out, like, hey, we can use this petition thing. Can you imagine what they're going to petition for next? Kids coming together. I mean, they're so technically switched on. The state doesn't stand a chance. Not a chance. Stoney saying, thanks very much, Mel. I tend to play more in the smaller scales, so I'll take a look at the vid. I have got some small scale stuff coming out at the minute, and will be over the next month or so. So I've got some buildings, we've got some foliage, we've got some cliffs and water effects, all coming out. So there's plenty. I'm doing a little bit of small scale stuff at the minute, mate. So there should be stuff for you. Is this in the UK or worldwide, the petition? The petition, it's just what you call it. It's just in the UK. It's part of a UK government thing. Kaz? Kerry? She can't hear me over it. Can you turn that down a little, please? Yeah. All kids petition for no school at all. The thing is, you got to question, do you really want to be the politician that turns against the kids, knowing at some point they are going to be your voters? All right, moving on for questions. We are on 5 of 12. Mad Burmese Monk on Twitch. In BBC, it seems you only do vegetation terrain. Do you do Southeastern Asian buildings or stone structures, you know, as a fallen statue of Buddha, things like that? Yeah, the Big Burma build, they're all on the list. The way I do my terrain, the way I do my sets is I pick the most common features first to build. Yeah, now obviously with me doing Chindits and doing Burma, Oz, go lie down. Yeah. Now, obviously, as doing Burma, the most common features in that situation is going to be the jungle. Yeah, and so, yeah, a lot of my stuff at the minute is just concentrated on doing jungle, because it's once I've got that jungle done, it's very easy for me to do 1 or 2 pieces and just drop those into the set and theme a set one way or another. Yeah, but you know, if I concentrated on doing like the buildings, then every battle would be in the same, would be in the same village. Yeah, and so the jungle pieces are more important to me. But I am getting stuck back into that. I was working on my Burma build this Thursday. I was just painting up some palm trees, but I plan on doing a lot more of that because I do want to get my Burma build stuff going. My mate Mike, he lives up the road, and he's putting together a Japanese army. My other mate Dave, who plays Japanese, he's down in Birmingham, and his life's very busy at the minute, so I don't get to play much. Corb's got his Japanese, but when Corbin was doing it, bolt action was too complicated for him, and so he really struggled with it. You know what I mean? I made the mistake of ordering a boatload of Chindits. Mate, we all do it. It's because their story is so amazing. You know, when you find out about the Chindits and what they did and all that sort of stuff, and it's like, I want to play those guys. I really want to play those guys. Right. So let me do the rest of this base, and then he's done. There we go. Oh, that's better. He looks all right. He'll do for our dungeoneering anyway. Ooh, don't wash my brush in my in my teacup. Right. Hey Bill. I have fins, so snow, lots and lots of snow. Palm trees would be odd in Northern Europe. I am interested about, you know, when I'm playing a game of bolt action and someone brings a Finnish army over to my Burma jungle. Because all my models are themed with my board. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be like, there's going to be like Frosty the Snowman going through the Burmese jungle. Did you get your new monitor, Mel? Yes, I've got the new monitor here. Yeah. The studio screen is just a bigger monitor for the studio, so I can see the comments in the studio. We've got live streaming, yeah, but I'm tending to reach into the studio now. But we're just ticking along on that one. You know, I'm in no major pressure because you guys have you know, put me in a good position. We're back in the studio. I just want to get rolling, so that's why I'm not banging on about it. I have 10 bolt action armies. Send help. Lord of the Rings forever. I do love Lord of the Rings. But Kerry loves Lord of the Rings. Right, let's have a look at some questions. Let Mel wet his whistle. Oh, a question from Max. Best acrylic spray primer, US based, that doesn't show the plastic or metal layer when you scrape it. Well, I can't comment. Rust-Oleum, they normally talk about being pretty good, don't they, in the US? They get good results. I use Halfords. That is a good brew. I think Stoney's just donated something. Oh, thank you, buddy. Stoney's thrown a chip towards the monitor. Appreciate it, mate. Really appreciate it. Yeah, back to Max's question. I use Halford's Grey for most of my priming. Other than that, Army Painter are really good primers. And I know you can get those in the US. Rust-Oleum's good, but some of my US terrainiacs will be able to chip in the comments and probably give a better answer to that question. Right, Gary is asking, his daughter wants to know if I had a Playmobil gas station. Yes, I did. I did have a Playmobil gas station. I also had the Playmobil, castle with the knights. Yeah, I was more into that than than the gas station. But I got my knights before I got the castle, yeah, because my mum and dad, yeah, they made this like wooden castle for me when how old was I? Maybe about 4. Yeah, they made a castle for me, yeah, for my knights. So they made this really big. It's probably, to be truthful, now it was probably only about that big. Let's have a look. It had these tubes. Yeah, and I think they were carpet tubes that the insides from carpets. And it had 6 of those and a square key. No. It had 4 of those. No, it had thinner tubes making up a gatehouse. It had 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. 3 of those, then a square keep. Yeah, so it would have been about, it's probably about that big. Yeah, and they made it for me. But I had that before I had my Playmobil castle. Angela's saying they still got their Playmobil castles. Your folks built you a castle? That's awesome. There's a photo on it, on my Facebook page. Link down below in the description, guys. But yes, I have had a Playmobil gas station duck. It's a good start, but we can build better. Okay, question 8 of 15, guys. Sundance is saying, do you plan on going to events and conventions outside the UK? And if yes, where to? Fingers crossed, I want to go to Adepticon, but I have a feeling it may be getting a bit short on time because we haven't moved on that. I think, to be truthful, I want to get over to either Essen, yeah, for next year. I don't think I'll do it this year, to be truthful, unless it's later on. There's just a bit too much going on. This year I'm planning to do a book, and so I'm limiting what I'm taking on. Gary's saying he's building a house for it. Nice one, mate. Make sure she paints it. Gary's saying he got a prison Playmobil. There's a prison Playmobil. Okay, moving on. Ryan. Okay. Why don't you add me to Facebook, Mel? I've no idea, mate. 101 reasons, buddy. Right. George is back with the modern urban warfare terrain again. Have you ever made any kind of footbridges? Any tips on making one? Also, would be very helpful if you could do a video tutorial on how to make one. If it'll fit in the 40k universe. No doubt at some point we will. Footbridges are quite simple. There's just a couple of key points. One, whatever you're making them out of has to be sturdy enough to support whatever models that you're going to put on it. So think about the game you're playing. Think about the models. There's some pretty big old school metal models still knocking around in the 40k universe. There's a bit of weight in those. Placed in the center of a relatively wide footbridge, that can be quite a bit of force. So be aware that if your material isn't strong enough, you may need to reinforce it. Yeah, you can buy really thin, long, sort of aluminium metal tubes and T-frames from the hardware store. Yeah, they're tiny. They're like, a couple of mil across, like 6-7 mil. They're for bracketing and all this sort of stuff. But you can get those and use those to sturdy things up. The other thing is obviously also factor in base size and make sure that your models you can easily fit two say single infantry models side by side on a bridge or a large model. Decide what the cutoff point is. Yeah. At the same time, when you're building your bridge, also remember this is wargaming. In wargaming, models stand like this. Yeah, they're going to have their arms sticking out. There's going to be tails sticking out. Basically, the model is going to extend beyond the base. So what you need to do is sort of factor that into the way you build your sides. Keep your sides low, maybe bevel them out some way, or keep them broken so they're not continuous. So if you have like a small wall with intermittent railings going along them, so that people with models with large sort of like axes out to the side, aren't hampering. Remember, a person will not put their model on that terrain because their model doesn't fit. Yeah. Or if it could just about fit, they'll wedge it in and knacker your terrain. Yeah, so just factor that into the build. Avoid like bridges with tall walls and stuff like that. Also remember, yeah, that it's not just about one model. There could be a demon fight or a massive fight on this bridge at some point. Quite a bit of weight could go on there. Also consider when you're doing your bridges and that sort of stuff, make sure that it's not awkward to actually get in and move models and stuff like that. You don't want any accidental hand movements that break off fragile bits. Yeah, I think that's enough on what you call it. I think that's enough on the old on the old footbridges. Terrain wedgie. No, you don't want a terrain wedgie. Right, questions. Right, moving on. Yeah, 11 of 15. Martin the Warrior on YouTube. Mel, I'm planning a 4x4 gaming board for Age of Sigmar that will have both lava and breaking icebergs and ice flows. That's ironic. I'm literally doing ice at the minute. Yeah, because I've got a tutorial coming out on ice and the bluey colours and that sort of stuff. Yeah, and I'm doing lava on the Scar build. And he's saying, I'm waiting for your Scar build and how to do lava. But do you have any tips for the icebergs, including how to do lava and ice on the same board? Right, other than the lava and the ice on the same board, dude, the icebergs you'll have sorted by the end of the next week. Just keep an eye on Patreon, mate. Yeah, because it's probably coming to Patreon before the channel. Yeah, lava and ice is pretty easy. Yeah, you get this weird situation with lava and ice. Yeah, where there's lava, there's no ice. It's as simple as that. All the ice does is increase the cooling of the outer edges of the lava. Ice doesn't stand a chance against lava. Yeah, and so you literally can do lava flows through ice. Yeah, you see it quite a lot. You wouldn't get much ice around where the lava goes into the actual water. Yeah, the reason being is that the lava hits the water boils, turns to steam. That puts a lot of hot steam into the relative area, and that melts the ice. So what you get is, as the lava goes down, you actually get ice, and then the closer you get to the water, the more the ice melts away, leaving the normal ground and the lava. Yeah, but because basically lava melts ice, snow away and dries it, before it gets anywhere really near it, there's no real need to combine any sort of special techniques because lava will never exist on ice. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It might go straight through the ice, so you might have an ice hole, yeah, with lava going over it, or, something like that. But you see, there's no sort of mix. I'm looking forward to the pictures on that. Hey, buddy. So yeah, on the ice stuff, that should be out for Thursday, and I've got a couple of videos coming out for Thursday, about 3 or 4 on Patreon. So if you're on Patreon, yeah, my notifications will go a bit busy on Thursday. It's been a bit hectic, as I said. Okay, moving on. Right, Bill in Iowa is saying, I like the, the 1/300 scale video you did the other day. Are there special considerations to keep in mind when painting the smaller scale terrain pieces? Like how to get the details of a house visible from across the table, brickwork, for example, or clapboard siding? When you're doing small scale stuff, you have to paint for stepping away. Yeah, and what this means is there's 2 ways of painting miniatures. Yeah, and the same applies to small scale terrain. It also applies to large scale terrain for that matter, but small scale terrain, a lot of the times, because it's so small, the decision is already made for you. But you have a decision when you have a model. Yeah, you can either paint it to look good when it's about 6 inches away from your eye. Yeah, or you can paint it to look good when it's about 2 foot away from your eye. Okay, because those are the only 2 distances we look at models. No one looks at models like that. Yeah, no one plays games all the time like that. Okay, And the reason why it's important is that if you want to look at something up close, then the details, yeah, you do a lot more fine details, you do a lot more subtler shading. The problem is, when you take that further away, all that subtle stuff just blends out into mute colours. There's another style of painting which is very layered and very stylistic. Now up close you can see the harsh lines and that sort of stuff, and it doesn't look too good. I'm not saying it looks bad, I'm just saying it doesn't look good as models painted to look good up close. Yeah, but when you put it down on the table, because it's got the starker contrast and it works on the highlights, it looks a lot better. Now in the case of painting small scale buildings and stuff like that, you don't have the detail to go in fine, and the vast majority of people are not going to be looking at it like that. So go with stylized painting. Yeah, make sure that if you're doing highlights, there's a definite, you can clearly see a difference in the tone of your highlight, yeah, when you're painting it. Because when you step it back that far, if you can nice and clearly see it there, when you step it back that far, it becomes a subtle highlight and it becomes more realistic. Yeah, so that's the main thing to take away with what you call it, with brickwork. I mean, on small scale stuff, 1/300 stuff, I wouldn't even bother painting brickwork. I mean, you're talking about a situation where at 1/300 scale, 1 millimeter is a foot. What's a brick? 8 inches? Yeah, 8, 9 inches. Long? 2/3 of a millimeter long? You're not going to see the white lines in between that. What you're going to see is you're going to see the red of the wall. You may see a bit of shading from the weathering. You may see a little bit of light from, you know, ambient light, whatever light situation and scenario you're setting up. But you're not going to, what you call it, you're not going to see brickwork, mate. Whew. Right. Right. Moving on. Question times. I'm on 13 of 15. We are an hour in. There's some interesting chats in the comments. Look at Devil's Postpile National Monument. Let's have a look at that before we jump into this question. Yeah, because hexagonal channeled lava flows into hexagonal basalt columns that bend towards the side, towards the heat absorbing the ice the lava is running through. That sounds mint. Let's have a look at that. I need to scroll that up a second. I missed that. What's it called? Devil's Postpile. Oh yes, that's like the Giant's Causeway. That was caused by the lava. That's weird as hell. Have a look at it for who said it? Ialoa, yeah, Ialoa, Aloha Milton. I think that's right. Have a look at the Giant's Causeway. That's right up by the guys at the guys at Beasts of War. Right. Yeah, I spent a lot of time painting 1/600 figures, and it was pointless. Can't see the details anyway. To be truthful, that's what with these models. I'm at a stage now where I just base coat and wash them. Yeah, because I'm not trying to be a brilliant miniature painter. All I'm trying to do is just get some nice counters, essentially, on the boards and on the table for the kids. I should say, painting my chindits so they look beautiful. But I'm using the far away method for painting models. Yeah, because I like looking at them in the situation of the terrain. And in that situation, they do look mint. Yeah, glaciers can guide lava. The lava and the ice are separated as stated, but the rock in between does weird things. I can imagine, mate. That is crazy. Devil's Causeway. Right, on to the questions. Right, we've got a question here from Steve. Mel, which do you prefer? Weathering powders or washes for MDF buildings? Weathering powders have their place, but the problem is I find them to be a little bit expensive. Yeah, I know a lot of people say you can use coloured chalks and all this sort of stuff, but the truth is you can't. Yeah, they're not inert like pigment powders. Pigment powders are inert. Yeah, I've had bad experiences with using chalks. The only thing you should use chalk for is white, because that is inert chalk. Yeah, any coloured chalks or anything like that have the pigment added to the chalk, and if it's added to, it can separate from. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the washes. Also, I prefer my buildings grimy looking. Yeah, powders work for very dried out buildings and stuff like that. Oils are much better for buildings, but I need to experiment a lot more before I do a video on that. But yeah, I'm a washes sort of guy, basically because I'm a tight arse. Yeah, I can easily throw a bit of burnt umber into into a bit of a wash mix and apply it where I want. Like I say, the weathering powders, they're expensive. So yeah, that's where I stand. We will have to go and have a play with that, won't we? All right, moving on. Okay, question 14 and 15. More on the Warriors back. So I bought some milliput, the yellow grey one, for a project in November. And I just got it out of the box this day and discovered that one half has developed a sort of greeny yellow skin. Should have been at a temperature scope. Perfectly fine, mate. Absolutely fine. Just mix it. Keep going. Yeah. Pretty much all of my milliput has that weird... It starts off, yeah. You get this... It starts off, you get the yellow and the white, and it starts greying, then it goes to sort of a greeny grey. Yeah, and it can happen on both sides. Yeah, perfectly fine. Feels sticky and slimy. I think it's just some part of the chemical excreting itself. Yeah, through density or something like that. Just mix it. All mine have looked like that. Do not worry about that whatsoever. Are you ready, Crawley? Well, there should be sea serpents in World War II gaming, because how fun would that be? You've got to have Nessie, haven't you? Or an octopus. Oh, Jimmy's asking, yeah. Hey, Mel, about your Burma build. Will there be a bridge over the River Kwai? That's a question, isn't it? It's in there. When we wrote the ideas for the Burma build years ago, it was always in there. And I was up at the National Arboretum. I can never remember how to pronounce that word. Yeah, but I was up at, the National Monument. And they've got a building there dedicated to the Far East. And there's a display in there, quite a nice one, of the bridge over the River Kwai and, the railroad. Be a hell of a build, wouldn't it? Do you know what? If I manage to get my if I manage to get my Burma build up to a stage where it's a big build and it's looking sweet, yeah, then what I say is, yeah, we'll do it, and we'll take it to salute the Kraken. That's the name of wargaming. But yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. Right, Menno's asking, Mel, help. What to do with lighting when painting minis? I need a strong lamp light to paint the figures nicely. And I am able to do that. But when you take the figure away from the light, it just looks dull and dark. Is there a middle way? Oh, lighting. All right, let's go through lighting. Right, first off with lighting, what you've got to realise is there's lots of different sorts of light. Yeah, and depending on the light you're using, depends how your miniature will look. Yeah, the colours. So, for example, you've got daylight bulbs. Now, daylight is actually a what you call it, quite a blue light. Yeah, so it can, yeah, it's quite stark. You can go over to tungsten, yeah, which is quite a yellow light, and that can change things. So it's always best to stick with sort of daylight bulbs because they will give you the sort of light that you get in normal daylight. Uh, I think you've just got to have faith in what you're painting. Things will always look brighter directly under a light, but you know, you're not painting under the light to see the colours as such. You're painting under the light to see the detail. Ooh, got hiccups. Yeah, the colours. You're deciding those colours, you know, based on what they're going to look like off the light. I mean, what you've got to remember is when you paint a model, when you picking your colours when they're on the palette, as a wet paint is always much brighter than the paint when it's dry. Yeah, it always dulls down when it dries because as it's wet, it reflects more light and therefore seems more vibrant. So it becomes a matter of picking and understanding that the light you're looking your miniatures at is the painting process light and you are painting for finished effect. If your models are coming off really dull, yeah, when you're, what you call it, when you're taking them out normally, then that's because you're trying to get them to look right under your painting light. Yeah. And what you should be doing is trying to get them to look, what you call it, right under your painting light for when they're dried and in normal light. Yeah. So don't try and paint a model that looks good under a painting light. Yeah. Well, really what it should do is it should be a little bit too bright. You should be able to see perhaps the transitions a bit too much. That being said, I'm not a model painter. I'm not the one to ask. There are 101 model painting channels on YouTube. Yeah, some with some serious subscriber numbers who know their stuff and some serious like golden demons and awards behind them. Yeah, go ask those guys about this sort of stuff because it's not my comfort zone. You know, I don't pretend to sort of advise people on model painting because I don't rate myself as anything particularly special when it comes to painting models. But I do know daylight bulbs are very important. And I've reached the end of my questions. And relax. I got a model painted. Well, I got a model washed. He's good enough now. Yeah, I painted for over 30 years now, but my eyes need direct to strong light. Yeah, I know that one. I do know that one myself. Arden's giving tips, and I'm wondering what they are because that sounds like a cheap deal. Right, to get cheaper weathering powders, you should look into getting pure pigment powders. That's what most of them are anyways. Nice. Thank you, Odin. Mal, how are we on time? We're ticking along at the minute. We're an hour in. We're just over, in fact, we're about an hour and 10 in. So we're doing good. Crawley's saying, as a mini painter, I prefer daylight bulbs, but RGB LEDs give a decent light to paint by. I've heard that. Or cool white LEDs. So what are people using for their lighting then? Because I mean, right now, to be perfectly honest, I've just got a desk lamp tucked behind there and I've just got the normal house lights on. I've got no direct lighting on my desk while I'm painting or anything like that. I'm pretty naff like that for what you call it. And this video, I'm not sure if this video looks a lot brighter than it actually is. I mean, my guy came out all right. Fact, very quickly. properties. Configure video. Yeah, let's put the autofocus on. There we go. Right. Here we go. At least I get to show off me, man. There you are. As I said, I mean, the base needs finishing. Now, I will be honest, this is not my best painting. But this is the level of painting I'm quite happy at. That's enough for me to get it down on the table, having games with the kids. There seems to be this weird thing at the minute in the hobby. Yeah, where you're expected to somehow be some sort of Michelangelo when it comes to miniature painting. And you've got to do all these different techniques, and your models have got to look like they belong in White Dwarf. I mean, hell, my own hobby, I mean, I'm happy terraining, I'm happy playing games around tin cans. And people who follow me on Facebook regularly see me and the kids playing games around tin cans and packets and stuff like that. Yeah? Seems it's wrong. We shouldn't be putting barriers in front of our gaming. It's a hobby. I mean, it's like taking up golf and then turning around and saying, you know, I can't really play golf unless I can get a hole in one. Lighting. 22 feet of windows facing west. Also daylight bulbs on the bath sides for night painting. You need north facing windows. Are supposed to be the best windows for painting. Yeah, the reason why you have north facing windows, yeah, is sun rises in the east, sets in the west. Yeah, if you have a north facing window, you always get pure ambient light out of it. If you're in the northern hemisphere, if you're in the southern hemisphere, you need a south facing window. But basically, you always get, thank you, Herbie. You always get ambient, ambient light, and so it's always an even light. It doesn't change as the day changes. That's it, take him through there. Hello, boy. Thank you for the comments on my model. I quite like him. I might touch him up a little bit. Add a few little details. But for all intents and purposes, that is perfect for me to game. And that's my mentality, to be truthful. Herbie's done as a bit of a, one of those top chat, what do they call them? I don't know. Is there a live show this Thursday? Yes, there will be a live show this Thursday. I'll be in the studio. Thursday, there's a good chance I'm going to be working on the Burma build. Yeah, there's a good chance I'm going to be painting palm trees. Cat saying in California we want west facing. I want sun. Well, you see in Britain, you know, it's very rare we see that great ball of flame in the sky. So, you know, it's not mainly an issue for us. Oh, JP, thank you. If Mel played the trumpet, he would be the terrain tutor. Thank you, guys. I do appreciate it. Super chat, that's what it's called. Right, back to the questions. Oh, we got another question. Let's slip that in there. Okay, M Lammers is saying on Twitch, he's saying, I've just bought a bunch of XPS and EPS, going to make a 120 centimeters by 160 centimeters, 4 foot by 6 foot board. That's not 6 foot, yeah, 6 foot. Any advice before I get started? That's a very broad question, my friend. You've got a mixture of XPS and EPX. Yeah, so the high density stuff and the low density stuff. Use the low density stuff for your basic groundwork that's going to be covered in grit and gravel and that sort of stuff. Use your XPS for all your carved rock structures and that sort of stuff. That's the best way to get them. You come up with a simple rule of if you're going to coat it with grit and filler and gloop or something like that, don't use your high density foam for that job. Yeah, cost wise you'll get the best results. Yeah, if you're going to coat it, use your bobbly stuff and shape that. That's my, that's my advice. Other than that, all I can really suggest is check the videos, mate. If you've got a specific question or you're facing a specific challenge, ask away, but you know, it's a very broad question, matey. Yeah. The Fixer NL's asking me, do I ride a motorcycle? I don't. I can. Yeah, and I did in the army. I used to ride a Harley Davidson Outrider trail bike. Yeah, I was part of a medic's role is you know, you'd have dispatch medics who'd go out from, like, you know, the field ambulance stations and the dressing stations, yeah, on trail bikes, you know, as immediate responders to get to casualties at the front line. And so I've trained up on those, and they're great fun. They are great fun. But also during my medical training, I did a lot of time in A&E, and I saw a lot of biker accidents to make me decide that I'm a car person. Right, well, I'll give it another 5 minutes. I'm going to lock off the Google Doc now. Yeah, and we'll give it 5 minutes because I've got a little bit of my brew left, and we'll just answer some questions in the comments. You have got a video coming this Tuesday. It is Fred and me. Yeah, it could possibly be 2 hours long, depending on how it gets edited down, but it is full of interesting information. Does Mel have central heat? No, Mel does not have central heat in the studio. And Mel's studio was built to be cold. It was actually built to lose heat. Mel's studio is inside a building that used to be a pottery factory. And so in the day when it was built, it was full of pottery that had just come out of kilns and hundreds of people working. And so it was actually built to let heat out, which was great in the height of the pottery industry. But when they filled it full of artistic studios, winter is coming.
No. He's got one. He's drinking right now.
I'm finishing in 5, babe.
Oh, the short stream.
No, we normally go till about 10:30, but we're pretty good, mate. What to use as a base? Is that the question on the what you call it? I'm not sure. Oh, dude, are you really resting a cup of tea on the back of my chair?
You were saying dead still. It was perfect.
No, don't ever do that, mate. Don't ever do that.
Why not?
Because do you know how hot that is? That you could scald yourself with it. Tea goes down on solid soup. Oh, you've got biscuits?
Yeah.
You share?
Yeah.
Really, son?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, fuck it.
Give me a biscuit. Give me a biscuit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don't eat them like that.
What?
You devilish.
What?
They're meant to be eaten with tea or coffee. You're not supposed to eat them like... Jesus.
His mum! He's got to get his mum because they've had a biscuit without dunking it. Oh.
Mum.
I do ride a bike, not a motorbike. I do ride a pedal bike. Mainly during the summer months. I'm a fair weather rider. Yeah, but I don't really bike on the roads. I'm quite lucky that from my house to to the studio, it's about 4 miles. But the first...
Think that.
I am live on YouTube while you throw balls at me now.
Try to get your video demonetized.
What's up? I don't understand. Would you care to explain?
I do understand that. I wouldn't mind.
But no, what
if
shall I
you
do?
dunked it.
Just bugger off. Go. Love you. Good night. God bless. See you later, alligator. Yeah, taking foods off the barns. Dude, you know he's a biscuit raider. He's got half a packet in his bedroom, no doubt. But no, as I was saying, the first sort of mile to my studio is very much through like bridle ways that they have through the estates. Then after that, I'm pretty much on a cycle lane. There's one little bit by the train station where I've basically got a bike like bat out of hell, yeah, through like a 5-way junction and under a railway bridge that doesn't leave much room. But if I can make that bit, I'm fine. Yeah, Cat. As Cat is saying, don't criticise me for taking Watchclub biscuits off the kids. There's been times when we've had to stop Corbin because he's not only snuck an entire unopened multi-bag of biscuits. You know, the ones with like lots of biscuits, rows of biscuits in. But also a full sponge cake. Trust me, he's fine. That cookie looks tasty. It's a coffee biscuit. That's why Corbin's so much offended by me not eating it with Watchlet. When Mel comes to the States, we'll show him what proper biscuit is with gravy. Gravy with biscuits? Jimmy, child line ain't going to help him. Right then, guys. I think it's time to call it. We are 20 past 10. We've been going a good hour and a bit. Yeah. I've done a little bit of painting. I'm happy about that. I've picked up. I've got a busy week ahead of me in the studio. Tuesday, you've got that painting video. That's going to be a late night, Monday night, editing that up. We've got icebergs and icicles, icebergs and glacial rocks. We've got headlands. We've got painting white cliffs. You've got quite a lot coming your way, guys. So, enjoy. And in the meantime, I will see you live Thursday night, 7:30 UK time. That's Thursday night, 7:30 UK time. We're in the studio. We're painting palm trees. I'll see you then, folks. In the meantime, you have a cracking week, yeah? All the best. All the best.